Hello, everyone. I'm Josh Oakes, and welcome to the smartsocial.com podcast, where we teach your kids how to shine online. We have 4 strategies that help you from safety to mental health to a private portfolio to launching that portfolio to a college-ready resume, which is a little baby website, and get your kids launched into the future to get them that dream career, that dream college, that dream internship. Today, we're talking all about that college career and especially internship and first job. Today on the podcast, I am honored to have Ben Tracy live with us. Ben has a very unique story. Ben now does online marketing through his company called Renegade Media Strategies. And I think you are going to want to go get your kids, listen to this with them, or just at least listen to this, because in our community at smartsocial.com, we're going to have a student version of this presentation that is going to knock your socks off, because I think Ben has something wildly helpful to share with you here today. And I think it will change the way your students see their online footprint. Ben, welcome to the video.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, Ben, I want to tell everybody kind of just really quickly, let me give everybody a quick preview. Now, I heard about Ben through a trusted friend. Ben spoke at a local school in Southern California, and they said, you got to call Ben. I'm just going to give you the teaser. Ben was hired and on his first day on a very prestigious job, unfortunately, he was fired because of something that happened a long time ago in his social media accounts. And we're going to tell you all about it here today. But we're going to highlight the positives of what your kid can do to avoid it. Does that sound fair, Ben?
Yep, that's perfect.
All right. Tell us what happened. Who did you work for? First of all, what college did you go to? What job did you get? And walk us through exactly how that happened.
Yeah, so I went to St. Xavier, which is a small private school in Chicago, south side of Chicago. While I was in college, I got a job, internships, started out with doing political campaigns in Illinois. So people running for Illinois State House, State Senate, basically I would help them get elected. So I graduate from college and I get a job as a campaign manager for a guy running for Illinois State Senate. Do well, sort of kind of move up the ranks with that. And 2 summers ago, so the summer of 2017, almost exactly a year after being out of college, I get a job with the governor of Illinois. Basically, the job is to be his personal assistant, travel with him everywhere he goes, kind of keep him apprised of the news and what's going on and who he should talk to, collecting business cards, that sort of thing. So my first day on this job, we've got 2 press conferences. We're starting in Chicago, downtown Chicago, going down to central Illinois a couple hours, back up to northern Illinois another couple hours, and then back to Chicago. Well, as this all starts, I get in the car. It's like a motorcade, and it's like a Secret Service looking guy driving, and it's the governor and I sitting in the back seat of this SUV. So we go to this first press conference, and as I'm walking in, my phone is like lighting up, right, with new followers and their government employees, political employees, reporters. So I chalk this up.
First day on the job, back of the SUV, like a movie, right?
We're talking like 3 hours into the day, right? So my phone's lighting up with all these new followers on my Twitter account. So I chalk this up to being a good thing, right? Somebody's found out about this job. People are following me, like any kid, right? And even adults. More followers, that's great. Doesn't really matter who they are, why they're following me. It's a good thing. So we go in, we do this press conference.
Good note, quantity. Like, hey, this is good. Quantity of followers, right?
Numbers, right? This is a numbers game.
Numbers, yeah.
So we come back out, and I get back in the car after this first press conference that I mentioned. And I, again, have a bunch of notifications on my phone. But this time, they're not new followers. They're like all my friends and colleagues saying, Ben, turn your Twitter on private. Delete your tweets. This blog has screenshots of your tweets. And I'm like, okay. So I open my phone. I'm like trying to delete the tweets as fast as I possibly can. I finally end up deleting my whole Twitter account. But obviously, it's too late. This person has screenshots of these tweets. They've put them on this blog that all the political people in Illinois sort of follow. The reporters follow this blog, all this stuff. So I obviously know what's coming next, which is a call from one of the governor's staffers who I've literally never met. This is, like I said, my first day. I've never met this person. This person calls and says, Ben, I'm sure you know, but this blog has picked up these tweets. And actually, where they actually came from was somebody who was had got fired by the governor previously, right? Kind of a sour grapes sort of deal. Was upset. They went home after they got fired, created a fake Twitter account, like with no avatar, just a fake name. And they had went through all these tweets and screenshotted them. And they had tagged this blog in all the kind of Chicago press corps and stuff like that. And just because of the nature of it was a big deal with the governor. And, he had done some stuff with his staff at the time. And so it blows up. So I get this call from the staffer, and she says to me, is this your Twitter handle? And I'm like, yeah, B Tracy, whatever it was, is this your Twitter handle? And I said, yes. She said, okay, well, I'm just going to read off a couple of tweets. Could you just let me know if this is something that you tweeted out? So she reads off 2-3 tweets, and she said, did you tweet these things? And honestly, I didn't remember tweeting them. It had been so long.
1 sec. I love where you're going with this. Just to bring everybody up to speed. 1, it wasn't the governor's office, his new employer, that found these tweets. It was a disgruntled person from the past, which I think is a fascinating. Ben, you're teaching me so much, because we always knew that stuff like this comes out, but sometimes it's from people that got fired and they're disgruntled. They're like, I don't like this new kid who's 23 years old that got out of college that gets the opportunity to travel around with the governor. So they went back not a month, not a year. They went back about 5 years on your Twitter account and pulled up tweets. Talk to us about, and keep going.
Yeah, so they pulled these up, and, in a point for the kids too, and parents, right? Like, this was obviously an extreme example of it, but the same thing can happen with say your kid is playing on the basketball team and is a starter, and some other kid isn't. Right. And that kid decides to go do the same thing this person did to me. And then they start tagging the coaches and administrators at their school. And then your kid has an issue with it. Right. That's how easy it could be. Mine was obviously an extreme example, but it could go at any level. The same thing could happen. All it takes is just somebody having the motivation to do so, and then someone else having those type of posts out there. So anyway, back to the story. The lady calls, and I didn't remember tweeting these things, but I said, yes, that sounds like something that I might have tweeted out when I was 17 years old. And obviously now looking back on it, those things were insensitive and derogatory and wrong, and there's no place for that. And I'm sorry. And she said, okay, well, you're fired at the end of the day today. So literally 5 hours in, I started and lost this job. And not only that, but I'm still in the car with the governor. He's sitting 2 feet away from me. So this is the governor of Illinois. The guy is a multi-millionaire, I think almost a billionaire. I have to look at this guy, and I say, sir, this is what I tweeted out when I was a high school kid. And now obviously the press knows about it, which couldn't have thrilled him. And your staff just fired me. And like I say, we're still in the car. So this all happens quick, right? On Friday, I interviewed for this job. On Monday, I started this job. And then going forward the next day, this is Tuesday, it's on the front page of the Chicago Sun-Times, which is the second largest newspaper, I believe, in the state of Illinois. Hundreds of thousands in their daily circulation. So happened quick, right? Friday, I interview. Monday, I start and lose this job. And Tuesday, it's on the front page of the second largest newspaper in the state. And I'm 23 years old. I'm almost exactly a year out of college.
Fascinating. Okay. So then what happens next?
Well, so I lose the job, obviously. The biggest thing for me after losing the job was I knew that this was going to be a news story, right? So in between it being published and getting fired and it being published, I obviously knew that I wanted to at least get ahead of it with my friends and family and stuff like that. So I had to call my parents and my 90-year-old grandparents, explain to my grandparents what a Twitter was, what a tweet was, and how this all came to be with, hey, you may not want to turn on the news tonight because they're probably not going to be saying very nice things about your grandson. So yeah, that was it, like I said, it all happened quickly and unexpectedly, right? And the other thing too, is a point for the kids and parents. I'd done all the things you're supposed to do, right? I was a college athlete. I was on the student senate in college. I had internships. I double majored. I had a 4.0. The things that on paper you should do, but none of that mattered. None of that mattered in that moment because of the stupid things that I had said on social media as a 17, 18-year-old kid.
Yeah, which was 5 years ago at the time.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. All right, so here's the learnings. Here's the key takeaways for everybody that's here. One, great job. You get in, the company or the organization or the employer goes, cool, awesome kid, willing to hustle, wants to get into politics, sweet, but a disgruntled other person. In my book, and I'm not plugging, but I have a very senior level person that wrote a chapter of my book called Light, Bright, and Polite. And he has a great phrase. He says, look, students, go have fun your freshman year. Have fun, go wild. But know that there are people that are on social media and on the internet that do not love you as much as your parents. And that's kind of this disgruntled person that says, hey, I'm out to get you, and I'm sad that I lost my job, which is nothing you could have controlled. And we're not saying that your tweets were okay.
Right, exactly.
But I think you made a good point yesterday. You told me, yeah, what I did was wrong, but something else happened that blew it out of proportion. Talk to me about what can happen there and who blew it out of proportion.
Well, I mean, obviously the media blew this up, and it was just a perfect storm, right? It was this governor had fired his whole old previous staff, the communications department, who of course had relationships with these same people who wrote these stories in the newspaper, and it was news, right? Because of the situation, right? Because of all of these things happening at one time. Now, is taking something someone said when they were online on Twitter when they were 17, 18 years old and putting it on the front page of a major publication, is that a little bit of an overreach? I think so. Is that a little far? Yes. Did I say things that were wrong and insensitive? Yes. And I think both those things can be true at the same time. Now, there's nothing I can do about it. Right or wrong, they printed that story. They ran with it. It was news in that publication and others. So the point I try to make is less so hammering on the media. I don't want to be the person that says the media is wrong or, anything like that. They have an important job to do in that situation. I don't agree with the way they went about it. But I'd like to take the other approach, which is, don't have stuff like that out there online, which is why now I spend some of my time going around talking to kids, sharing my story with them and explaining to them both the positives of that the positives that can come from social media, and also through my story, the downsides of it as well.
Yeah, that's terrific. I really appreciate you being here today to talk to people about this. For all of you parents that are listening, first of all, big thank you to you, Ben, Tracy, for being here today. All of you parents that are listening, there really is a good side, as Ben is hinting at. The shine online that we talk about a lot. Yes, you need to be safe first. There are predators out there, and there are bad things your kids can do. Next, we need to make sure your kids are happy online, if they are online at all. Mental health and wellness is your next step to protect them in our 4-step process that protects every kid. And then we move into the private portfolio, where you Google your kids with them and you show them how powerful their new resume is. And that's their Google results, as Ben knows so well. And then we start building a portfolio that's private so that we can design their messaging. What do they want to do in middle school and in high school? We do this as early as middle school. Then you publish it so that if something does, heaven forbid, go wrong, then all of a sudden we can make sure that your student is known for who they truly are. Because there's people out there that do not love your child as much as you do. And there are some people out there that want to set the record straight, whether they're right or wrong. And oftentimes they're going to be wrong, and they're not going to be. Now, unfortunately, for people like Ben, the damage was done, and it's really hard to climb out of that. Now, he's climbing out. He's doing well. He's going to make a huge impact, and he's very courageous. I told you offline that I get a lot of anxiety when I ran for public office. Ben, people were mean to me for no reason. They're like, this guy, he's way too young. He must be a billionaire. Guys, have you seen the car I drive? I mean, come on, right? It's just because I had a lot of enthusiasm. They didn't understand why. And two people did not want to meet with me. They did not want to go to coffee with me. They wanted to blog negatively about me. That hurts as an adult, Ben, as you know, and that hurts as a child. I think about the kids that are getting bullied and hurt online. So parents, no matter what you do, make sure you have that dialogue, be on the same apps as your kids, and let's start talking to your kids about their future career rather than telling them what not to do. Go listen to awesome people like Ben. Maybe even bring them to your school to talk about how to get hired and fired and all that stuff. Now, if you join our community at smartsocial.com, you're going to get another video with Ben. Ben's going to tell you the story about not only his, a little bit more that you can watch with your kids, but Ben's going to tell you a little bit of a story about some pro athletes that were drafted or in the all-star game and what happened live to them, and they had to answer for it. And it's just like what Ben went through, but it's a student-friendly video that you show your students. We're just going to give you a quick little 3 to 5 minute video on what can go wrong live when you least expect it. Does that sound fair, Ben?
Perfect. Let's do it.
Amazing. All right. Thank you for all of you that are listening to the smartsocial.com podcast or watching us. No matter where you're at, you can go to smartsocial.com or click the links above and below. Just become a part of the newsletter as we reach millions of people a year to teach students the positive side of how to use social media and their devices with a purpose instead of just a pastime. I'll see you guys all very soon. Have a wonderful day.